Hey guys, Dan Young here with Dan's Mirror Code, and I've got a good friend of mine, Dr. Chiddy.
What's up, man?
And I actually met him through Instagram, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, from different friends and videos.
Yeah, yep.
And,
that party at
Cars and Coin?
Hard.
Oh yeah, our Cars and Coin event.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, out of all people in his industry, he's a plastic surgeon, board certified, super pro. But his social media, I've never seen a doctor ever have such great social media. And I think it's one of the key things. I'll let you talk about how it's really helped your practice scale, and you're building a secret new big, massive headquarters.
Yeah, it's hard to keep secret at this point. It's just starting to
secretly
to come
huge.
Up, so yeah.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Also, as far as being a customer of yours, my daughter, she had something going on, like a mole or something, and she just went into the normal doctor, not plastic surgeon, and they just like Frankensteined it off of her, and it left a huge scar. And you've been fixing that, and she's really. In fact, I had lunch with her today, and she was like,
cool.
"It's starting to come around. It's really good." So you've been fixing that. So thank you.
Of course.
So man, you got a big accolade sheet here of all the crazy things. I just know you as Dr. Chiddy, who takes amazing before and after pictures of your clients that you're removing fat, contouring, all this like crazy stuff, and it goes from like Frankenstein to like supermodel perfection. We also love, both of us are entrepreneurial, so we love scaling companies and trying crazy new things. So maybe give us a little bit of story from like how you got to where you are, and we can talk about maybe some of the things you're working on.
Yeah. So a little backstory of me. I was born in Chicago. Going back, my dad was a dentist. He's a dentist, and he went to school in Chicago. He met my mom. So I'm half Thai. I'm half Asian, half Caucasian. So I was born in Chicago, moved back to Salt Lake City for a little bit, and then actually lived overseas for like 6 years.
Wow.
My dad, a little adventurous type, he took a job as a dentist in Saudi Arabia. So our whole family, I have 3 younger sisters, we all lived over there for most of my childhood. So I think a lot of like early on, like what molded me and kind of made me who I am was because of what I experienced there. Going to international school, had friends from all over the world. So just like culturally, I just was exposed to a lot of different things that I would have otherwise here in Utah. So I moved back to Utah, did high school here. That's where I met my wife. So we've known each other since high school.
Wow.
That's when I first started seeing you on TV and all the Piece of That stuff, the amazing stuff you did. Yeah. So you've always been an inspiration to me, quite honestly, until we got to know each other. And I still feel starstruck getting to meet you and know you personally. But yeah, you're very inspiring to me. And I think just for me as a physician, making that decision to go into medical school, so I went to the University of Utah, and then went to California for 6 years to do plastic surgery training. I actually never pictured myself doing my own practice like this. I just kind of thought I'd work in a hospital, do academics, do all the crazy hand surgery and stuff that I trained to do. But I kind of had to take a step back when I was finishing my training. And I kind of realized, for me, I think family became a lot more important in the decision I was making. I think up to that point, a lot of decisions I had made were based off of my personal career and the progress there. But as I got kind of into it, I realized, I think I want to do what I think is best for our family. And so we decided to come back to Utah. We skipped out of Southern California. We loved it. And then came back to Utah and started a practice here. And so I was in an experience for about 1.5 years, and I learned and grew with a company. And then I decided to do my own thing. And that's when I started to realize, as a physician, I also could have the opportunity to be more entrepreneurial and do my own business and do something successful. Because it came down to me, what I had learned at that first place was culture is a big part of day-to-day life. And I see the culture you have here. It is awesome.
You tried to make it fun.
You gave me an awesome tour of your huge facility here. But it's so cool to see all the stations you've got set up. Everything, your break room is just so arranged for your employees. I can tell you just care a lot about them. I have a friend who actually worked at Nordstrom's, and she told me a story about you. And I, to this day, it makes me emotional thinking about how awesome of a person you are. I know this podcast that you're interviewing me, but she told me she had met you one time. You brought one of your employees in, and you were helping him get some shoes. And she just said how awesome it is that you would do that for your employees. And that really resonated with me, because as running a company and a business, I see you're walking around saying hi to everybody. you're on the same level. You don't consider yourself better than anybody. You're definitely their leader, and this is your company, but it's cool to see that. And so that's very much in parallel with what I've tried to do starting my own practice. So in 2020, right before COVID, 2 months before COVID hit, we started our own practice. It was kind of like out of the blue, opened a little
Crazy
place.
timing, huh?
Yeah, had no idea. January 2020, opened a practice. We had 6 employees, and it was just me as the surgeon, and we just started going. And I used social media as my way to really get out there because I didn't have the funds to like put billboards up or get on TV or do those things. So I would use my time, and then when COVID hit, I had a lot more time to just advertise. But I tried to more educate people about plastic surgery.
You go into like a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Like the technical.
Yeah. Well, I just want to educate people because even, today seeing patients, they said, thank you for breaking it down for me and explaining it, so it makes people feel less scared. And so, yeah, we started our practice then. I just blew up using social media to do that. And it's something I've become very passionate about, but also at the same time growing a business and a culture where we're all equals. We have foundations in our business, and we talk about that, and I think that's super important in starting a business and having it continue to grow. We have over 30 employees now in the last 3 years. We are building a secret lab, a secret facility, surgery center, clinic, med spa, and Draper.
Wow.
Hopefully be done next year, but. Yeah, I feel very blessed, but I think a lot of it has to do with, you trust people around you and you just be like a nice person, and I really believe in karma, and it comes back to you.
That's important.
Yeah.
What's the big thing is differentiation. So I think if I think about any other plastic surgeon in our state, you see a couple billboards, right? Mm-hmm. And they kind of all look like each other's billboards, kind of like real estate agents, kind of all their cards look the same.
The rate,
yeah. But the big difference is the standout. What is some advice that you would give to people that want to stand out in a industry where, there's a lot of people doing it, but how you get to be special?
Yeah. Actually, so I get invited to speak around the country about this, to other professionals in plastic surgery, but even other specialties like derm and stuff. And I get that question a lot. People come up to me after, and it's like, hey, how can I stand out in what I do? Because, yeah, there's like 50 other injector nurses in my area. How can I stand out, And I thought the same thing. When I started doing social media, I'm like, first off, there's not many plastic surgeons when I was doing what I was doing. TikTok was new, and I was doing dance. I loved to dance. I used to break dance when I was in high school. And so TikTok for me was like, oh my gosh, this was meant for me. And so I just really latched on to TikTok and just did dances. And so people start calling me, oh, you're the dancing TikTok surgeon, whatever, And I actually don't dance as much now, but it was my way of expressing myself in the way I was comfortable doing. So I tell people, find what your personality and what you're good at and amplify that. Put that on social media. Like, show your personality. Like you said, on a billboard, you don't see a personality of a person, right? You just see them standing there, and you're like, well, okay, great. There's 10 other plastic surgeons doing that. But if you can be on social media, interact with people, show your personality, show your staff, show what you stand for, people will be drawn to you that have similar values. Mm-hmm. So like for us, when people come in, patients come in, they feel like they already know me, they know my staff, they know my wife's my boss, they know she's my boss. They all come in, they are very comfortable, right? And the people that aren't comfortable, guess what? They don't come. They're like, that guy's weird. Like, I'm not going to him. Like, I don't want to go to a surgeon who dances, right? So it really they select themselves out from the beginning. So the people that are coming are all that same vibe, that same culture. And so that's the advice I would give is like, find those people. You'll find them. You just have to put yourself out there and be yourself, and you'll draw those people to you.
You remember my commercials, right? When you were
little?
I'm still running them. So yeah. And ours was that show Jackass was really popular, and I used to like watch it with my kids. I don't know if that's being a good dad, but we just thought it was funny when they were launching people like cannons, and, throwing pies in faces. Yep. So we're like, let's reenact that. Let's like do our own skits, And everyone was excited. Even my son was excited to make these silly videos. And we would measure our success by how many complaints we got. So I started getting 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, 100 complaints a week. But talked to one of my first mentors, Mike, and he's like, here's the thing. When you were selling computers in a student, we're like, we have the best quality. We're going to take care of you forever, blah, blah. He goes, how much revenue were you doing? And we were doing, I don't know, $500,000 in revenue. Once we started this stupid campaign, we jumped from like $500,000 to $5, $6 million in a couple of years, which is good. And then 30 million, then 40. But the big one, my thought was this, and his thought was this, is if nobody knows about you because you're so boring, then like people like you, but only a handful. Yeah. So if you get exposure, let's say 75% of the population in a demographic, if half of them think you're an idiot, that's actually great because still the other half knows you.
Yep.
Now what's weird about it is people would message us, your commercial's so stupid and mentally insulting, I'll never do business with you. And then we would have our customer service people say, I apologize for this stupidity. My boss has ADD and some other weird clinical stuff, and sometimes, you know, we talk, but I promise I'll talk to him about it so maybe he can adjust it to make it better, you know? Mm-hmm. What's some feedback you have? And they would just go on, and we'd write down, I'd have my CR girls write down the feedback. Mm-hmm. And they'd say, okay, for your feedback, we're going to give you a discount on a computer, $100 off, even on sale price. Yeah. And we would sell them a computer.
No way.
And they would give me the feedback. They'd be, okay, this is what a customer, and I read through them. I did this mistake, you know, about, I said, something, it was me dressed like a farmer. We're in Utah, a lot of farmers, you know, and I'm putting on my cowboy hat, and I'm like, I have a computer. I'm like, she's a beauty. She's a stallion. And I got 300 messages of people going, she cannot be a stallion. Change that. This is insulting. This is totally incorrect information. You're misinforming the public. So this is bad. I call up all the stations. And I'm like, can we triple the play of that one? And the complaints are like 400.
Oh my!
I was getting like a CR was like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, just give me, she's a stallion discount. Yeah. So it's still playing today. I've been playing it for like 3 years.
No way.
So look, if you want to call and complain about the stallion, we'll give you a little discount.
And then you sell another.
Well, but the competency, like you do the dancing, and I did dancing and weird jumping up and down. The competency is in your work. Like, so truly, if that got the attention, and like, I see the work that you've done for customers, like, it's good work, right?
Thank you.
Then it's like, okay, that was get our attention. Yeah. You know, it's real. You know.
Yeah, I think you're right. You have to couple it with, you know, like I said, whether it's excellent customer service, excellent product, whatever it is. I mean, yeah, I could dance all day, but at the end of the day, if my work sucks, it's just gonna end there. Yeah. You know, or I mean, you can be infamous and be like, he's terrible, but then you're not going to get those customers, right? Yeah. So I totally agree with that. And I think I'd put that, you asked me about the buyout, and I said, yeah, like my goal is like, I think I've grown because of social media, but also because I'm always striving to do the best for my patients. Every single patient, I take the time that it takes. And I tell patients, look, like I would treat you in the operating table like if it was my wife or my sister, you know, like I'd give you the same amount of detail and care. And I see that with your, you know, you just gave me a tour, all the products you put together, I think it's top notch, whether it's for someone famous or someone, you know.
Maybe your mom taught you the same thing. Because you know in our commercial, like, we love you.
Yeah.
Because I asked my mother, actually, I'm like, Mom, what's the way to, like, take care of people the best? She's like, just treat them like you treat me. No. Like, just tell them you love them. Yeah. And really do that. And, like, make it cultural. Yeah. But you guys do that because from your front desk people to your one girl, Callie or whatever was her name?
Yeah,
esthetician. Yeah, and she was like fixing my daughter's scar though. She gave a crap about my daughter. And you even came in, you're like, let me see that. Oh, we're gonna fix that. Yeah. You know, but you're empathetic with your customer's problem and pain, you know, that people are self-conscious of. Yeah. So that's, I think you know, you've got the we love you and you're incorporated in your culture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, that's what we try to do. Not as cool as the way you presented, but no, really, I think, and every person wants to be heard, you know, when they come in, whether, you know, they have a concern or they want to address something, they just want to be heard, and listening is so important, you know, and then being able to, like, you know, give the feedback, like, okay, I hear you, and this is how we can come up with a response. I think, you know, for me as a plastic surgeon, I tell people, the hardest part of my job is not surgery. Like, technically speaking, I do it every day, you know, it's like, I know how to do that. But it's setting expectations and managing expectations with patients when they come in. Because, you know, it's almost like you look at someone and I say, okay, like you're trying to predict what's going to happen with them based off of the tools that I have, right? And so I say, you know what, I think we might need to plan 2 surgeries in you because you're extra complicated for this reason. But if I just go in there and say, oh, let's do it, not listen to them, do the surgery, and then something happens, now it looks like I had messed up, and it's like, well, no, like there's things I can't predict are going to happen. And so really for me, trying to predict ahead of time, like, okay, I think this, this implant might drop because her skin's really thin, or this part's going to be more full here because their hip's crooked, whatever. So just trying to help people, but also manage that expectation. And I think that's the hardest part for me, is like trying to predict that. But
so that's a tip though for entrepreneurs, is manage expectations. Our crypto hedge fund, which is Crazy Crypto, is very volatile. But I had one investor, one of our largest ones, tell me, look, you guys have great years and good months, and you have weird stuff happening in the economy. But why I stick with you guys, though, is he was talking about managing expectations, because you're transparent. You tell people, like, hey, guarantee, but this is what we see. Yeah. And then we communicate consistently. Yep. Okay, this is where we're at, and we do, like, with all our customers, we do, like, this newsletter update. Okay, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is what it's awesome. But that's how you do in the video, because I think if I was getting plastic surgery by watching even, like, your videos and things like that, it's almost a great way to inform people in an interesting way what the newest technology is.
Yeah.
I can't believe more doctors aren't doing this, from like LASIK doctors to like foot doctor to like, I don't know.
Honestly, I mean, I told you one thing. I can't tell you all about it because I have to sign NDA, and everybody signed NDA. But I started a software company with a friend, and that's one thing we're trying to do. It's develop something that helps manage expectations for patients across multiple areas. I can't say, but yeah. No, Elon Musk would get mad at me if I did that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I mean, really, it's a huge thing. Like, being able to predict, like AI, if you could predict a complication is going to happen in a patient, or then how to prevent it, or better ways to do that. I mean, that's huge. I mean, they're doing AI on breast scans, right? They're saying that AI can predict breast cancer even before it happens in some situations, or they can look at a mammogram and pick out the cancer way better than any human can, right? So there's going to be some point of where humans are not going to be the ones, whether they're overseeing it when it comes to these things, medically speaking. I mean, I think in my mind, I'm thinking malpractice and all these other liabilities that come up. But I mean, in the end, is AI going to be better than humans?
My daughter and I were talking about this. I have severe ADD, so I'm going to shift gears into this. You seen that show Wall-E?
Oh yeah.
Everybody like has no job and they just float on these chairs and eat and drink. Think we're going that way, man?
Well, I mean, you think about, I think just work in general, right? Because in that movie, they had nothing to do. There was no work that had to be done because it was all done by AI and robots. So what else am I going to do besides eat and entertain myself? I look at like TikTok sometimes, and people just sit there scrolling, and as things become more and more automated and we have to do it, I mean, possibly. So either we need to find something else to do as humans, or we're going to be in that situation.
But if you look like the Wall-E people, then your business is probably going to get busier. Because they want to be extra pretty, right?
Yeah.
So the question is this, and maybe this ties into plastic surgery, is with stem cells, gene splicing, all kinds of things coming out. Do you think there'll be a genetic level treatment to make you look younger and actually extend not just your physical, but your internal function? Like
this is already out there.
Really?
Like at Harvard.
Tell us.
Yeah, there's already research coming out of Harvard where they're doing studies on mice where they claim that they're able to reverse aging. And this is not, you heard about telomeres, you talk about DNA and the ends of DNA, how as they break off the telomeres, we call it, that's not why we age, because those ends break off. So, what's the magic bullet or whatever that can prevent that? Well, these guys in Harvard are doing something different where they're able actually to essentially reprogram DNA to reverse aging. And they're seeing that in mice. So again, this is all in animal studies, and I don't know how intense that is, but that is ongoing research. And whether that happens in our lifetime or not, I don't know. But you're right, that totally affects everything that even like me as a plastic surgeon, like a lot of people come to me and say, hey, look, I need a facelift because my skin's sagging because the quality of it is not as good as it was 15 years ago, right? If you could reverse that, whether it's through a cream or an injection, I mean, there's no point to have a facelift, right? And even a lot of these treatments we do that are non-invasive nowadays, there's like lasers and radio frequency and all these other devices that we do to try and reverse aging, right? And so we do these things to stimulate collagen, and talk about stem cells, people injecting stem cells. There's all these different things, but I mean, I think it's definitely going that way, and there's a lot of cool research out there, and then even things I have no idea about, right? So whether we actually reverse or not, I don't know. But
wow. Maybe it'll be like Blade Runner, you know, when they go see the, remember the old Asian guy, doctor with frozen eyeballs and parts? Yeah, and people going, I need some new eyes. And you're like, well, I've got just the ones for you. Just pop Rose right in there.
Yep. Right. And your scanner, you go to scanner, you're somebody else.
It's crazy where it's going.
Yeah.
So your new giant facility will be open next year, maybe?
Yeah, it's still on schedule. I just got an email today about it. Still on schedule, hopefully January, February of 2024.
You can handle a lot more client load.
Yeah, we're bringing on more surgeons. We actually have someone joining us soon. We haven't officially announced it. We will do that soon, but you're hearing it here first. But yeah, we have a surgeon, another surgeon. So it'll be 3 of us. So me, Dr. Garlic, and another surgeon. Hoping to expand that even the following year. I got to fill that space. It's like you got to fill it with people. So.
All right. I don't want to keep you too long because I think you gave some good points here. The big one that I learned from you is really just standing out, right? Like doing that and giving your customer a good follow-up experience through that and managing expectations, right? That being the big one. Do you want to leave? There's a lot of entrepreneurs there and a lot of people who want to start their own thing.
Yeah.
Any like last key elements you would give them to like write down as they go through their journey?
Yeah, I mean, some things that helped me, because I didn't start out wanting to be an entrepreneur, but I've definitely gone that route, and I'm excited and happy that I did. But first thing is, if you have an idea, write it down and go for it. Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of people have ideas, and they don't write it down, and they don't do it. So you might have a great idea, but there's probably 5-10 other people who have that same idea. So unless you go for it and enact it, it's not going to happen. And then secondly, put a plan together. Set some goals. Like for me, like I had put together during COVID with one of my friends. He helped me when we were doing our business foundations and cultural foundations. We wrote this all out. I wrote out like a 10-year plan for myself, for my business, for my family. And I literally just like detailed everything. At 1 year, I want to do this. 3 years, I want to hire another partner. 5 years, I want to build a building. 10 years, I want to build, something in whatever. And I did that on paper, and I've seen everything come to fruition, but way sooner than I planned. So I wasn't even planning to have a building started at least till year 5, and I'm already in year 3. Mm-hmm. So I think putting that down on paper, it really does something where just putting it down and having that goal in the back of your mind, it does things for you. It pushes you, and it gets things to come together.
It's important, yeah.
Those are my
Get it done. It's execution, right?
Yep. Execute it for sure.
That's a big one. And in tech, I know so many people that said, I thought of this, I thought of that, thought of this, but it's like, I think I was talking about my original mentor, Mike. He said, you don't even have to be perfect. You just have to be like above average, but consistently, like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the greatest burger in the world, but it's pretty much the same whenever you get it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what managing expectations, right?
Yep. You know what you're gonna get every time.
All right, man. Where can people find you to look more pretty, fix bad scars, and anti-age a little, all those things working, and watch your videos?
Yeah. So on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is under Dr. Chiddy, Chiddy. All my stuff's on there. Or you go to my website, drchiddy.com, if you have any questions there. Or my office is the Plastics Clinic. So we have a medical clinic and spa. So it's on Instagram, the Plastics Clinic, or plasticsclinic.com.
Wow. So Dr. Chiddy, that's my favorite, just like your Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the easiest. Yeah.
That's my favorite now.
That's all the dancing. That's where it's at.
That's where you want to go for. The links are there, right?
Yeah, all the links.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Super fun. Guys, this podcast has been going on now since 2018, and it's really great having the best entrepreneurs, up and coming entrepreneurs have been running for decades, all types, but really the standouts, the super Jedi of the universe. Just a couple things I ask that you do. One, you execute what you learn here, write it down, just like Dr. Chiddy said, and execute. Second thing is share it. So I think there's a lot of people right now with wonky economy wondering, what am I going to do, those kind of things. And I think this podcast can give people a lot of courage, at least a game plan. And watch this again on what Dr. Chiddy said about writing down your plans and actually executing them. That's a big one. We'll see you guys next week on Dan's Millionaire Code Podcast.
See you guys.